written channeled message today. It's kind of long, but I think it's a good one. So, if you're in a track race, right, and one of your opponents is like your friend and they trip and fall, are you going to stop and help them and sacrifice a win? Or do you understand that just because you win doesn't mean that you like hate or have abandoned your friend? Like, are you so self-sacrificing that you care more about comforting your friend's ego than your own success? And like in this scenario, it's not like you tripped them or anything yourself, like you didn't sabotage them intentionally. But there's something in the energy about like somebody close to you stumbling and you almost feeling like you need to stumble with them just so that they won't feel alone. But you can't sacrifice your own life and success just for the sake of someone else. You still need to keep going. So there may be a friend who like say you guys both applied to the same university or college or whatever, and you get in but they don't. Or you guys have both applied to the same job but you got the job and they didn't, and now you feel like you have to turn down the opportunity just so that your friend won't feel bad. But whatever the opportunity is it could be literally, and it will literally be life changing for you and elevate you in some significant way. I'm also picking up that like this is a little heavier, but it could even be like um a friend relapsed in regards to something but you didn't, and so you almost feel like you need to like sacrifice your sobriety or something like that. Please don't do that. It could also have to do with like you could receive a really incredible relationship offer, that could actually turn into whatever your long-term goal is. If you just want like a life companion, or you literally want to get married and have kids, like this is that person. Or even if you just, it's like a whatever type of relationship dynamic that you desire, you are going to be receiving an offer for that. Okay, and you may feel as if you should turn that down just because your friends have zero romantic prospects, and they're still in the proverbial trenches in some way. You maybe even like made a promise or a pledge at some point, or even last summer, that like, yeah, we're gonna stay single together. Okay, and so you feel like you have to you know what I mean? It's not like an unbreakable vow. You're not gonna like pass away if you break that. And I feel like if those people actually care about you and actually give a shit about you, then they would understand that you know that like you're not supposed to have to sacrifice something that's so significant in regards to an aspect of your life's joy just because of a promise that you guys made at a certain time. Like, you're allowed to evolve and you're allowed to like change your mind. It's your life. And that does not mean that you are abandoning them, because and if they make you feel like you're abandoning them, what's the alternative? You would abandon yourself. You know what I mean? They would prefer that you abandon yourself and your own happiness as opposed to them, if they want to like phrase it or think of it that way. And if they do think of it that way, then they're not a true friend to you. Like, somebody who's actually meant for you and who actually cares about you would be excited to see you achieve something regardless of if they had that or not. This doesn't have to be just a friend. I'm kind of using that in the term of like somebody that you have a close personal relationship with or whatever, that you care about their well-being or whatever. But this could be a sibling even, or parents, or even family members, whatever. This next part, they're basically saying like, if you were sent here to be a sacrificial lamb, you would have literally incarnated as a sacrificial lamb. Okay, you need to keep going, and when you are in a higher position, you are better suited to actually help that person if they actually need help. And some people need help but they don't deserve help, and I'm going to say that in like regards to um somebody who doesn't want to actually help themselves, and they want you to like pour in all of this energy and effort and to try to like fix their problems for them, but they're not actually willing to put in the work. So that's kind of what I mean by that. But theoretically, if you allow yourself to progress regardless of like what they're going through, you could be in a position to be a good reference for them. You could help them get a better job. It may take a couple years to earn that respect and trust in that position or whatever, but hypothetically, you elevate yourself so that you can help somebody that you care for, right? Like, so you could become a good reference for them, or say you enter into like a really good relationship with a really genuinely good person, and they know people who are also good people, right? um and then you would be able to like help to connect that friend with higher caliber romantic options. You know what I mean? And if any of this is like coming across as selfish or whatever, you have to think of like the safety protocol when you're in a plane. You know, they tell you to always put your mask on first, even over like a child's, right? Because how would you even be able to help them before you help yourself, right? You have to like think about it like that, not as you being um selfish or narcissistic or whatever, you know. And also, you can't like, I don't know, you can't help somebody from the same position that you are in. Like, I'm also seeing, you know, say you guys are both stuck in quicksand or whatever. You can't really like help each other, like pull each other out unless one of you gets to stable ground, right? Unless you're like, oh no, I'm just gonna sit here and sink with my friend. And I'm also seeing, you know, like picturing military drills or whatever. If like there's like that wall or whatever, and like, you know, somebody who's actually able to climb on top of that wall can reach and like is stable enough can reach their hand down and help lift their friend up. But if you guys are both just sitting at the bottom staring up, you know, your enemies are going to catch up, like, you know, whatever. You know, the the people, they, you know, they could catch up to you if you guys are both just standing there like twiddling your thumbs being like, how do we get over here, you know, like how do we get over this thing, you know. But heavy on the like, you need to do something in order to get to stable ground before you're actually able to help lift somebody else up. Because I know you may see messages about like not everybody deserves or like needs to sit at the table that you're going to, or like not everybody's meant to go with you or whatever. But you know, sometimes, you know, that doesn't apply to everybody, you know. But sometimes like there are true genuine connections in your life, but you can't like, you know what I mean, you know, one of you has to be stable, and you can't necessarily like, regardless of how well you think you know that person, you can't guarantee that they would even be willing to like do the same for you if they, like, you know what I mean, like would they be willing to sacrifice themselves and their success if the tables were turned. And I know that that's not really like, oh, that's not important or whatever, but that, and you know, but still, you kind of just need to help yourself first, okay? And if you don't get on stable ground before you try to elevate other people, you know, you guys could just both crumble together and both like collapse on a faulty, shaky foundation, which is not what you want. And yeah, I guess the ending part of the message was, I guess, is important in some way. Like, regardless of how much you love that person, there's no guarantee that, you know, they would even help you if the tables were turned, regardless of how well you know them or you think you know them, okay? But this message isn't necessarily primarily about, you know, whether or not that person would help you if the tables were turned, or okay, but it's just like, um the important thing is to just not like stall or halt your forward momentum because you feel like somebody is like, this could be a best friend that you guys have always been on equal footing, and now you may be advancing beyond them and you like feel weird about it and stuff like that. And I don't know, because anybody could see these messages. It's giving like, say like a friend goes to jail or whatever, or something like that, I don't know, and you haven't done anything wrong, but you like go out and like, oh, I'm gonna commit a crime because I don't want them to be in jail by themselves. Like, that's crazy. You have to understand that that's not logical, and that's not helping either of you. That's very short-sighted. And so like, it doesn't necessarily have to be something as like drastic as that. I was getting the like, breaking a sobriety because your friend is, and not wanting them to feel alone, or feeling like, you know, you have to stay single and reject a really good love offer just because your friend has no romantic prospects. They're on their own journey. Like, if you guys were meant to go through identical things, regard, like, you know what I mean, indefinitely, you would literally be in the same body. You're not occupying the same body, you know what I mean. And if they make it a thing to where like, oh, you're outgrowing me, blah blah blah, that's their own insecurity that they need to work through. And just trust me, like, if you like, for the sake of your own long-term happiness, you just need to not let anything slow you down, especially not feeling like you need to slow down for the sake of others around you.